Welcome, beloved Sangha, to our question and answer on the Jewel Ornament of Liberation series. We'll begin in the yellow Garchint Buddhist Institute prayer book on page 4 and 5 with opening prayers. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
Many Dharma brothers and sisters, we already received some questions through email, and of course after that I'm so excited to listen your wonderful questions. I remind you that Dharma question answers are great teaching, because if you motivate bodhicitta through this motivation, it greatly benefits for all mother sentient beings. And we all Dharma practitioners, so we are going to help mother sentient beings through different ways. For instance, sometimes we practice generosity and so forth, and then sometimes we offer answers and questions and so forth. Okay, so let us start our questions.
All right, so we'll start with a few questions that we have from email, and then as usual, if you have other questions, if you in the Zoom have questions, please either flag us down in your video screen, or even better, if you want to raise your hand in the reactions tab, I believe, and then we can see you and you can ask a question. All right, so Khenpo, first question. Isn't karma created by intention? During the teachings, you mentioned that killing sentient beings unintentionally creates negative karma. However, in the text, it also says that karma is mentally motivated activity. So then if beings are killed without our motivation to kill, by accident, just by walking or driving or doing daily activities, how does this accumulate karma?
Yes. That is wonderfully reflected on there, and it's experientially asked. So that's a wonderful question. And actually, the karma has karma cause and effect. We accumulate it, as it mentioned, through Jewel Ornament by Gambopa, and also so there are different ways to cultivate karma, even this negative karma. So then this negative karma first, we generate like a motivation, and after motivated on it, and then after motivated, and then we act. So this is the how we accumulated negative karma or positive karma. So the number one is when we cultivate the negative karma, for example, attentionally and unintentionally, which means unintentionally, for example, we think we don't have attention to kill someone, yeah, but accidentally we step on someone's how to say their body and so forth. So this karma, at that time we cultivate negative karma, but this karma is not strong karma, which means this result is not strong. But kind of this karma, we continuously accumulated on this karma, and eventually this karma become very stronger. For instance, in the fall season, the weather is so cold, but then the water becomes frozen. But then 1 month, 2 months, continuously weather is getting cold, and then this water becomes frozen. Similarly, we cultivate non-virtue repeatedly and continuously, and eventually it becomes a very strong non-virtue. And then in the Vinaya teaching, it says the attentionally non-virtue or intrinsically evil deeds. Kind of these things, we particularly, for example, we think, oh, this is my enemy, and I'm going to harm to him or her, and then we act that. Kind of this karma is we call intrinsically evil deeds. So this karma is already very serious karma. So if you are monks and nuns, or if you have a vipassana vow, and then intentionally if you killed other being, and then at that time one breaks one's vow. So then your main question is that karma means first to be motivate, second act. So then you thought this without attention we kill someone kind of accidentally. Is it negative karma or not, right? So yes, this is negative karma, but you don't particularly attention, but your motivation is mixed with ignorance. So through ignorance, all actions are related negative karma. Yes.
Thank you, Khenpo.
Thank you.
Second question. You mentioned, Khenpo, how to practice clarity during meditation during your May 17th class. Your advice was very helpful to envision and think that my arm is emptiness, my head is emptiness, etc., etc. If you could please give a little more explanation concerning the strengthening of clarity in meditation.
Mm-hmm. So yes, our mind is naturally like clean water. I think water is naturally clean, but different dirt, different chemicals makes unclean or dirty water. And then we utilize different ideas, and then we can make it clean. Similarly, so the natural state of mind is already clarity. So right now we have wisdom, and Shakyamuni Buddha and Amitabha Buddhas, they have omniscience. So there are Shakyamuni Buddha's omniscience and our wisdom, this spiritual wisdom are same. They're both clean and clarity. But over this spiritual wisdom is inside of the obscurations. Because we have different afflictive emotions. So these afflictive emotions are like anger, attachment, jealousy, pride, and so forth. So, and particularly the self-grasping. So they covered. If our Buddha nature or spiritual wisdom is like the sun, which covered by clouds, thick clouds. So that's where we this Shakyamuni Buddha's what is called Shakyamuni Buddha's omniscience and our wisdom has no different in naturally, but temporarily our Buddha nature covered by obscurations, and Shakyamuni Buddha's Buddha nature is already cleaned because he purified completely all of these obscurations. So then how we improve our clarity is, for instance, if we are shamatha meditator, then first we try to promote our mind like a stable. For instance, when we focus on a single object, we try to focus single-pointedly. But now it is not easy because we have different thoughts, like oceans, waves, and they blow away, they carry away our concentration. So, but we try, and we make efforts to keep going this stabilization and stability, and then our the kind of single-pointed mind or this attention will remain well able to remain single-pointedly. And then after we have to more apply the vipassana. The vipassana is like we focus on the object, and then we try to understand the nature of things. For example, I have a book, and then we establish is this book is permanent or impermanent. This is number one. If this book is impermanent, then how it is impermanent? According to the time, according to the like a different obstacles, it's always changed. So through this way, we our realization of impermanent will increase. This is number one. And then number two is if we establish emptiness. For example, this book I established in emptiness, and then generally we say, oh, there is a book, and then we don't analyze beyond that. We just think there is a book, and then what we utilize is adjective. Oh, this is a good book, or not a good book, so forth. And then I like this or I dislike this book. So we are following like these thoughts. But when we analyze, where is book? It is cover is book, or It's these letters are book, or this it is color is book. We examine or we analyze, and then there is no book. So eventually we can find there is no book, but that is not the highest realization, of course. But we are more believe in emptiness, which means, oh, book is just to be label, or there's a book. That is to be just our thoughts makes it, or our thoughts make it. But in reality, there is no book. So this is the one way to improve our clarity. But this clarity just not enough. So in the Dharma teachings, there's two kind of realization. We realize emptiness of the phenomena which are outer phenomena, like my body, and then these books and house and so forth. But still we have a fixation. Where we fixate? Where do we fixate? We fixate our mind. Because we only focus outside, yeah? We focused outside and we analyze these outer things. But then we more focus inside. Inside means then this mind. We should focus the mind. So this mind, the natural state of mind is clarity, but we focus on the mind. It is very difficult. It is not easy. Because the mind is naturally a very subtle thing. So very, very subtle phenomena. So, but we start to focus on the mind, then our attention is automatically very clear. Maybe you remember during the Vajikalaya, we visualize a very small Vajra, and the center of this Vajra, we visualize a very small moon disk. On this moon disk, another small Vajra, and then we try to focus on their cerebral home and so forth. So at that time, we focus carefully, because this object is very subtle and not easy to can pay attention to that object. Similarly, when we start to focus our mind, then first it's very difficult. Where is the mind? What is mind? So that's where then we focus more and more towards our mind, and then our attention become very clear. Very clear means because all of these attentions come together. Our attention does not scattered in different ways. So then more focus on the towards our mind through the examination and so forth. But this is also not the highest level. But then eventually we should relax in the natural state of mind. This is very important. We are very difficult to relax, but we have to be relaxed there. So this is, for example, if there is a in the water has something, if we shake that water, then this water will not become clear. But if we don't touch this water, just like for itself, and then slowly the dirt goes down, and then we can use this water. Water becomes later clear. Similarly, we try to relax in natural state of mind, and then our the clarity ultimately increase like a waxing moon. Yes.
Thank you, Khenpo. Similar, along the same lines of clarity, Khenpo, at times when reciting medicine Buddha mantra, or even when doing Ngondro practices and reciting refuge mantra, I lose clarity completely, and I only notice that when I come out of that state. And when I come out of those experiences, I have a very warm and calm feeling, and I'm reasonably clear for a while. But I fall into these more unclear experiences quite often. I tried to avoid this with very strong effort, but now I don't think that it's a good idea. How can I avoid this falling into not clarity, and how can I help to keep clarity in my practice?
Right. So clarity, actually these Mahamudra practitioners, they have no more thing to do. And some retreatants, they stayed in the very small hut. Even inside, of course, they don't have more kind of tankas and dharma books, of course, other objects. But they just rest in the natural state of mind. And then they sometimes their mind becomes distracted. These Hong syllables, and then they practice with this mental recitation and with the breathe, like Om, breathe in, and breathe. It's first recite Om. At that time, all this breathe in through the nostrils and say and then it's press down through the main channel to the navel area, and then the Hong, at that time it breathe out. It cut the thoughts. So they do like that. Also, but if we are on this level, then we do only meditate Mahamudra. We do not need to learn different the knowledges and so forth. It's fun. But if we are not on that stage, then we do Mundo practice. So first, Mundo practice is if you have a bowl, before you eat lunch, that bowl must be clean. If the bowl is not clean, if you are owner of a restaurant, in your restaurant the plates are unclean, then people will not pay money for your food because they don't like to eat there. If you cannot get money in the relative truth, then in ultimate truth, the clarity is so far from us. So likewise, we have to clean the bowls for eating hygienic food. Similarly, to gain clarity, we should purify our obscurations. We often say we are going to become great practitioners. However, we should liberate from suffering. If we are going to liberate from suffering, we are going to purify the cause of sufferings. The cause of sufferings are afflictive emotions. Like I mentioned earlier, that anger, hatred, and other emotions. So that's where during the Mundo practice, it purifies. It's real purifies. We real process to purify it. So if you psychologically or logically think on there, for instance, when we received the empowerment, we received a vice empowerment, we visualize now vice empowerment received from our crown, and it purifies all the obscurations of body. That is our visualization. But during the Mundo practice, we do prostrations. we do prostrations. Actually, we do prostrations, we do yogas. We say we need good health. We practice yoga and we do prostrations and so forth. Even we walk. After eat lots of food, we walk. It helps to digest. So that's this is a real proof. So that's where we do prostration. Number one, we have good health. And number two, it purifies these negative obscurations of body. So that's where and then we recite refuge prayers and other Vajrasattva mantras. At that time, we purifies obscurations of speech. So how we purifies obscurations of speech? Number one, we prevent negative speech. That is very true. Because if I don't recite mantra, and then probably I say different things. Probably I say meaningless speech or harsh words or some kind of these things. So then I cultivate lots of negative karmas through my speech. So that's where this is we have to recite mantra. It prevents to negative karmas of speech. And then if we already cultivated negative karmas through our speech, then through this recite mantra, then it purifies these negative karmas of speech. And then we visualize the refuge field like Vajrasattva. So when we focus on Vajrasattva, at that time our mind is like a mirror. And then Vajrasattva appears in this mirror. So Vajrasattva appears in this mirror. Then Vajrasattva is already very pure and clear and beautiful and amazing. So these amazing things appear in the mirror. So that's where it's when you visualize Vajrasattva, your mind spontaneously clear. It's especially you focus on the Vajrasattva single-pointedly, and that is clarity. Actually, that is clarity. But of course, in the future, you can progress your clarity in different practices, in different ways. But this you don't think. All these things cultivate lots of. Reduce my clarity and so forth. This I think we misunderstand. Of course, when we recite and meditate and practice, at that time it purify our obscurations. So if as I already gave you an example, our mind is like the sun, and then our obscurations are clouds. So when clouds moved away, and then the sun appear from the sky, it is nature. So that's where when we practice like a Ngondro and those practices, and then we cultivate lots of merit. When we have great merit, our realization increases. And then we cultivate lots of merits, our obscurations are reduced. So that's why through preliminary practice, we have more benefit. And sometimes I understand that sometimes you feel doing lots of different practices, it reduces my clarity and so forth. So perhaps you are a little bit fixated on your clarity. So if you are fixated on your clarity, then this clarity will not become excellent clarity. So I think you do not worry about that and continuously practice preliminary practices and so forth. Okay.
Thank you, Khenpo.
Thank you.
Well, a written question from our Zoom audience here. If possible, Khenpo, could you say a few words about how, about the karmic winds, their concept, how they work? What is the relationship between karmic winds and channels and chakras? If you could explain, maybe start from like first grade level and then to higher learning, PhD level understanding.
Yeah, so this actually, first I start from the karmic wind, okay? So karmic wind is, in Tibet, we have Tibetans here, so I just use some word Tibetan. Le long. So le long. So that means now we are in the samsara, so we don't have freedom. We say we don't have freedom. Because this karmic wind below us, we are like a candle light or just a single pebble, and then wind blow wherever this wind below, and then this pepper and this candle light moves that direction. Yeah. In the same way, likewise, when we have karmic winds, so generally we say that our wind is like a horse, and then our mind is like a horse riders. So wherever this wind move, then our mind goes through this way. So in general it's said, when we are strongly angry to someone, and then our winds gathering together area of heart chakra, heart. So many people had a heart attack or something like that. So which means the wind, when we are angry, then this wind is very strong, like a storms. It comes through our heart channel. And then the power of this wind bring the blood. There, hygienic or unhygienic, all blood comes through very tiny, the channel, and then it attract to that channel. So the disease comes through this way. So then attachment and jealousy and pride, all of these things are negative emotions, and these negative emotions are related with the karmic winds, So then we act the actions of attachment and aversion, and through this way, then the result is the hope and fear. If I have this, if I have that, we have lots of hopes. And then we have lots of fears. If I do something like that, I'm afraid. Then we are afraid of death. Then we are afraid of the sick and all of these things. So we cannot rest on the equanimity or on the balance. Yeah. If we cannot rest on the balance, then always problems. For example, these 4 elements, we say 5 elements. These 5 elements are, their balance is okay, then we don't have earthquake, we don't have a tsunami, we don't have storms and so forth. But sometimes the wind is strong, sometimes fire is strong, and sometimes then the Mother Earth becomes crazy, and then we have earthquake and fire problems, water flood, everything. It's very similar. Inside of our body has also 5 elements. So if they are not balanced, then we have lots of problems with our body. So karmic wind is like that. Then if we follow karmic wind in this life, then we start to act attachment and aversion. And then after this life, then during the bardo and in the lower realms, then we will experience the lower realms like a hungry ghost. If we are related to greed, if we are strong, related to strong angry emotion, then we will experience hell realms, And we are very much related to ignorance, then we will experience the animal realms, so forth. So this we don't want to follow karmic wind. But then we should follow wisdom wind. Wisdom wind means now we practice bodhicitta. At that time, we are related to wisdom wind. When we practice, listen to teachings and give teachings, and all of these practices are related wisdom wind. And then another question, channels. So we have 3 channels. We have actually in Tibetan medical, it says 80,000 channels. But in the Vajrayana, it counts 72,000 channels in our body. But these are countable. We can count. But still there are countless channels. We have countless channels. But grossly we count 72,000 channels. But all of these channels are related 3 main channels. And among 3 main channels, the related center channel. So that's where when we start to meditate, we sit like that. Because our center channel is already very straight. And this center channel is like a vehicle road. So the mind and the wind goes through this channel, the center channel. That's where then another, if I talk more about channels, I think it's unsuitable right now because when we should talk at there during the practice. And then the chakaras, you asked me about chakaras. So chakaras in the teachings, it says notes. So this, I already mentioned, we have 3 channels, right, left, and then center channels. So these right and left channels join with the center channel, we call it chakara. Because it is a very similar chakaras. Because they join in the main channel, and from this main channel, the area of these nodes, again, grow many channels, like 8 petals, 32 petals, 68 petals, something like that. So that's where we have different chakaras. And then important thing is that these chakaras are the pure land of Yidam deities. For example, we visualize Vajrasattva or Buddha Amitabha or Shakyamuni Buddha or Guru Pema Sambhava or our gurus. So they are in the center of our channels. So when our mind is become pure, at that time, each and every lotus petals are the places of Yidam deities. So 10 days later, we will start summer teaching. In this summer practice, so in this sadhana has some visualizations with Avalokitesvaraya, 1,000 arms of Avalokitesvaraya, and then round of there another great bodhisattvas, how they stay each petals. You will, if you have time to join there, and then you will understand clearly there. And then, so we have three channels, and according to the Chakasamvara, 4 chakras. And then, so these channels are like a road, and wind is like a horse, and our mind is a horse rider. Yeah, so these 3 things are very important, but these 3 things are important. We say important, but important or not, it's related to our practitioners. Okay.
Thank you, Khenpo.
Thank you.
I have another write-in question from the Zoom audience, and I can remind the Zoom audience, you're more than welcome to raise your hand and ask if you want to speak directly with Khenpo as well. Khenpo, does it matter which mantras you say? This morning while walking, I was saying Om Ami Dewa Hri repeatedly, and I wished that all humans and non-humans to be born in Dewa Chen. Was that okay to use the mantra in this way?
Oh, Ami Dewa Hri?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, excellent.
Or any mantra. Does it matter if I use any mantra at any time?
Yes. Any mantra, actually the this Amitabha and Mani Mantra, Amitabha's mantra and Mani Mantra, these are really the blazingful, and it's a great benefit. Everybody can recite. Actually, in Tibet, Tibetan says all Tibetan knows Mani Mantra without learning. It's almost spontaneously, since they can say, the babies can say Ama, and then they start to recite Mani Mantra. So it's really blazingful. And so I often told you that when we walk on the road, for example, you see the bugs like ants, or then some big like a deer, bigs are like a deer and a pig or horse or so forth. You recite Mani Mantra, because there's a Mani Mantra is Avalokiteshvara's mantra, and we cannot directly communicate with Avalokiteshvara through ordinary language. But Mani Mantra is Yidam deity's language. So we can communicate with Avalokiteshvara through Mani Mantra. Because when we recite the Mani Mantra, then Avalokiteshvara can hear us. And then when we generate compassion from our mind, and then we can benefit other beings instead of Avalokiteshvara. So that's where Lord Jigten Sungong, his interpreted called Gongje and Buddha's single attention, it says, all phenomena act Buddha's activities, which means right now we are not Avalokiteshvara, but we recite Mani Mantra, and we generate compassion through this way. If we benefit others, like ants and birds and cats, so forth, and then our actions become Avalokiteshvara's action. So then the main benefit is our compassion will grow. So you can recite some mantras. Before you recite them, you will have empowerment. Some mantras, but Mani Mantra, Amitabha Buddha's mantra, they are you can recite, and it greatly benefit.
Thank you, Khenpo. We have a question from our dear Rinchen Pamo.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Khenpo, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dale.
I have a question about karma. So, if there is a situation where like something harmful is going on, for example, like there might be some food that's bringing many ants into the house, and those ants are in danger of being stepped on. They have to be removed because it's not a healthy situation to have them there. Or for example, you have lice. If somebody has lice on their head, and you have to, so for the ants, you have to take the food away from the ants. So it's almost like, is that considered stealing their food? And removing the lice is harming them because you're taking them away from their food, which is your head. But you have to do that because it's more harmful to not to do that. Is that clear, Khenpo?
So if you have some harmful insects or things like that, maybe some ants that were coming into your house that may be eating your food, but they could cause more harm to your house, you have to remove them. Or you remove the food. Is removing the food stealing their food? Does that create stealing karma? Also, like if you have like the bugs on your head, the lice that eat your scalp, if you take them off of your head, you're removing them from their food source, right? So is this harming them, or because you have to do this to protect your own head, they may cause more harm if you do not?
Yes. Actually, there are many stories in the Buddha's Dharma. The great Bodhisattvas, they completely dedicate their body, their house, and all of their possessions. There are many stories. Even they practice generosity, their eyes and so forth, and their precious things they dedicate it. But these are there is a time because some practiced on this way, and after that they regret about that. There is another story that some Bodhisattva, some asked their eyes, and then they gave eye with the kind of left hand, and then they say, you should respect me with give me through your right hand. And I after gave that through right hand, and they step on this eye, and they just rested there. And then this Bodhisattvas asked, why did you do that? I only need to listen the sound after I pressed on this. I don't need eyes. And then these Bodhisattvas regret, it's so difficult to benefit these beings. But they are not angry, but they regret. So that's with, it's very much related, the Bodhisattvas, which level. But right now, we don't want to dedicate all of our kind of a body and a house and all precious possessions. But first, we try to more dedicate through our dharma and our merits, through our motivation, through our mind. It is easiest, but it is very, very beneficial. So then my answer is that you have bugs in your house. I cannot say don't remove them. Because it harms, as you said, it harms your house and it harms your food. But then how to remove? This is very important. So we think, oh, this bugs harms my house, and then it damage my food and so forth. So then you harmfully remove them. Definitely this is a non-virtue. Even it is a serious non-virtue. But you should think they come to your house and it damage your house is one's karma, but then it is time to remove them. That is their karma. So that's where you compassionately. It's quite hard to say. The action is, but compassionately, you recite a Mani Mantra or Amitabha Buddha's mantra through their ears, and you just bring from a house and throw out. No matter whether it's very hot or it's very cold. Don't do like that. You bring the bugs from your house and put outside at least a few days while not hungry, or few days they're safe there. At least you try that. So then there are little non-virtues that you moved them, but you have great virtues, So then the great virtues are more heavy than the non-virtue. So that's why I think this is that's what you can do. And then if you still means actually you move their food. It's dependent. Now we say still means in the Vinaya, still means you need 3 motivations. First, you yourself, and then you understand these things are someone's. For example, this book is your book. And then I need another motivation that I'm going to steal it. And after I take it, now I get it. And at that time, if you have a vow, it starts to break your vow. But you remove the bug's food. It's not directly related stealing, but it is related to some non-virtues. So you try best. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we have about 15 minutes left, so if anyone has some questions, please, whatever.
Oh yes, that one hand.
Oh yeah, Helena, look at that. Thank you.
Actually, you mentioned yesterday most people don't dedicate really well. We don't do the dedication, or many people don't do the dedication so well. And I had that feeling many times that there's something missing when I do my dedication. I try to somehow develop some more, I don't know, some more feeling of something. I can't really pinpoint it down. Could you give some advice how to, what to do when dedicating, apart from just reciting, of course, the certain prayers?
All right. Yeah, so first I would like to say a little bit the fault of non-dedication. So in Shanti Devas, the way of Bodhisattva, it says all the many eons virtues destroyed by single moment of angry emotion. So it does not mean it's completely remove your merit, but it means it takes time to receive. It is a fruition for us. So without dedication, then it's like if we have money and we put it in the bank, I think then we have less worry about that money, yeah, because it is in the bank. So if you have some money and you just keep it, not sure when it lost or somebody steals or something like that. Similarly, if we don't dedicate our virtues, then some different thoughts interrupt, and then these thoughts takes away that merit, which means this fruition take time to receive to us. So, but you in previous past years, if you did not dedicate well about your after your practiced, then don't regret about that. But since from today we all try to take care about the dedication part. So dedication means this all Mother Sensing beings are like a bank, and then we cultivate this merit through our Dharma practice. And then if these merits are like a money, we put in the bank, which means we dedicate all Mother Sensing beings. So if you recite only single Mother Mantra, you dedicate all Mother Sensing beings. And this single Mother Mantra, its benefit become like a boundless space. So that's where then this merit take time to finish. I mean, you can, until, if that merit is, another example, if that merit is like a boundless, infinite ocean, and then you can use that ocean for many lives almost. Yeah, whole lives, of course. You can use that ocean your whole life. So, similarly, when you dedicate, then this merit never ending. So this merit continuously received to you. In the relative truth, this benefit is in this life, whatever you need, it is a very much related merit. Merit means power of the virtue. So we say good karma, cultivate good karma. So what is the meaning of cultivate good karma, and what is the reason of to cultivate good karma? Because we need some powers of these practices. So when we have merits, then in this life we have less obstacles. We have more, all wishes easily can accomplish, something like that. And then another benefit is after we dedicate, until we become enlightened, this merit will not exhaust. And after become enlightened or after become Buddha, then it greatly benefit all Mother Sensing beings. So I give you a small example. The flowers, Lord Jigten Sungung's golden temple, in his golden temple, it mentions like that. When Shakyamuni Buddha, he cultivated merit for 3 eons. At that time, he offered many flowers to other Buddhas. So offer means part of dedication, yeah. So that's where this is his eon, Shakyamuni Buddha's eon. So that's where right now we have many kind of gorgeous flowers, yeah. So that is these flowers are result of Shakyamuni Buddha's dedication. So dedication is important, but sometimes you don't have time to recite long dedication. Dedication has 2. Unsurpassed and surpassed ability dedication, the 2 things. So exactly you asked question, and today is our last day of the meditate on the 37 way of Bodhisattva. So it is on the dedication part. So the both of this, we are ready to practice the both of this dedication practice. So if you have time, we will do it together today, okay? And then
I try.
Thank
I
you.
try. Only it's very late here in Germany for that, but I'll try to keep going. Okay.
Oh, thank you so much.
Good night.
Thank you. Yeah, if you are busy, you and any of you, then this question answer still remain in the YouTube, so you continuously can listen. Oh yes, yes,
Trish.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I have a couple of very simple questions. They're very small.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Can you hear me, because my speaker wasn't working yesterday? Can you hear me okay?
I know. Seems okay. Maybe you say we try.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this morning, during the Jankop this morning, I noticed a couple of things I didn't notice before. One was Jay had a large photo on the table, and he touched his head with some books, and I was wondering what he was doing when he was doing that.
Did you hear?
Can you repeat?
So during Jangchuk today, Rinpoche had some books on the table, and he was touching.
Oh,
can you explain?
Yes. Thank you for paying attention about this. And so in this book actually names the people who passed away, and then Rinpoche, in front of Rinpoche, there's Amitabha Buddha's picture, and then there are mandalas picture. So Rinpoche compassionately being instead of those who passed away. And then he do prostration. To this towards Amitabha Buddha and other these yidams and so forth. So Rinpoche he do this three area. That means Buddha's place, Dharma's place, and Sangha's place.
And then page 34, there is, let me see, page 34. Recite, thus may you attain mastery of awareness and pass with sudden force to special pure lands such as Dewa Chen or Lotus Light. I thought Dewa Chen was Lotus Light, not that they're two separate things. Isn't it one thing? I know.
Did you understand?
Dewa Chen is that's it.
So in the Jangchuk text, on page 34, it says, thus may you attain mastery of awareness and pass with sudden force to special lands such as Dewa Chen or Lotus Light. Is Dewa Chen the same as Lotus Light?
Yes, actually the Dewa Chen, we say this when we rebirth in the Dewa Chen, it is not like a mother's womb. We will not rebirth from the womb, but we will rebirth through miraculously rebuild it through the lotus petals. So yes, that's questions. Yeah. Right.
So, but it says or here. It says Dewa Chen or Lotus Light. Isn't it all the same? Dewa Chen is Lotus Light. Is it maybe just a typo? Maybe I'm just noticing.
So the text distinguishes. It says Dewa Chen. It says or Lotus Light, not Dewa Chen. And,
right.
Yeah.
Actually, it means in the Amitabha's prayer by Chami Raga Apsi. So in this prayer, it says some miraculously rebirth in the lotus, but it's like it becomes like a being some beings inside of the petals. These petals take time to open. So, but that is in this petal is much better than the lower realms. But that is not yet the exactly Amitabha. It is in the Amitabha's land, but it still take time to see Amitabha. So that's why in this prayer says, may I immediately open these petals, lotus, and may I see immediately Amitabha Buddha. So that's where, otherwise they are same area.
May I ask one other question if nobody has a question?
Yeah.
I don't see any hands raised.
Is that okay?
Please.
Thank you.
All
So,
right.
in that sometimes I get pretty overwhelmed with all the teachings offered, and maybe some suggestion for me that will help. There's so many teachings that GBI offers that it's hard to watch everything, and yet I feel compelled to watch everything, and other things that need to be done, and then they don't get done, and then it keeps on building up until I get quite overwhelmed. So I'm wondering, how do we pace ourselves knowing what we can and cannot take part in all of these teachings? Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so question is, GBI offers such large variety of teachings and events and things, and I feel very compelled to be a part of those and practice those, but I also have a very busy life. And so if I'm trying to practice all of these things, maybe I forget my busy life and vice versa. So if you have any suggestions on how to pace myself to be able to consistently practice and still also have, you know, the things that I need to have done day to day taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there's actually you are right. The people are so busy. People are always busy with the different things. But in the King of Aspiration, I think it is in the King of Aspiration, it says, may never stop the sound of Dharma. In this prayer says that. So now GBI is quite like that. So here we continuously teach Dharma. So that means in these mother thinking beings, they are busy as a bee, always busy. But whenever they need to listen, it's always the teachings are valuable. So this is the one thing. Another thing is we don't particularly take money for the teachings. So I think this is the greatest generous practice. And of course, you, for example, you are busy, then your life's career is very important. I totally agree. So you have to work, you have to save money. These are important and do them. And then when you have time, then you listen and you bring which part makes more benefit. You take that and you dissolve them in your mind and practice it. I think this is very important. But the compete in the monasteries in Tibet, for example, then this yeah, of course, you are not monks and nuns, so we have different lifestyles. If you went to the Sheda, 24 hours almost, of course, in the night may not, but it's teach. In 1 year, some Shedas has only 10 days vacation, something like that. Otherwise, teach. So compete with them, then this part of teaching is pretty small. But it's related. But in this, as you mentioned, we here, especially His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche, gave profound teachings to us. It's really precious things. And then at the same time, there are many Dharma masters give teachings. So I think it's also your power of your power. How to say? It's power of your merit, because you need to listen Dharma whenever you are going to listen. Then you open this YouTube and then you can listen. So I think this is a very great. For me, I always think like that. So yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so now the time is up. So thank you so much. It's a wonderful questions, and some did not get time to ask, but anytime you can ask, and you can send through emails and so forth. And if when I offer you answers, some answers are unclear, or it seems I misunderstand your questions or something like that, please you send me again questions, or we will do in the future like that. At that time you can clarify and ask again. And then let us dedicate through bodhicitta. Please generate bodhicitta and all of our merits dedicated for welfare of all mother sentient beings. Chancho senjo rinpoche maji banan ji jorje ji ba nyan ba me ba ya kone konde pe wa shuo.
May bodhicitta, the precious and supreme mind, arise in whom it has not yet arisen. Where it has arisen, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher.
May you have a long, happy life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Khenpo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you, Billy.
Thank you, Billy. Yes. Thank you, Khenpo.
Thank you so much. 真的把这玩意最后一个人，